It is not a pretty picture. Associated Press reported on July 9 that carriers are cutting back their capacity to the Caribbean by 17% this year. American Airlines, which controls key routes from the U.S. gateways to the region, will cut daily flights out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, from 93 to 51 in September. Some flights will also be cut to Santo Domingo, Antigua, St. Martin, Aruba, and Dom Rep. The cuts to San Juan hub, for example, are especially distressing because it serves so many of the Caribbean destinations, particularly the Eastern and Southern Caribbean. Regional strategy to address these cuts is are in discussions. I can, however, tell you how we in Jamaica are handling the airline situation. We are taking a proactive approach. Indeed, we have taken a proactive approach and have circled the globe to establish solid partnerships with key airlines. Consequently, we've successfully negotiated substantial services from both emerging and existing markets that will secure air travel throughout the next year. I must tell you, however, that I can't predict beyond winter of next year. But what I can assure you is that we have secured our airlift for summer, the fall, and definitely to the end of the winter season next year. With this past April to Beijing, Tokyo, and Dubai, my ministry negotiated arrangements with several carriers in Asia, particularly China Southern Airlines, China Air, and the Japanese airline, All Nippon Airlines, that's ANN, to create linkages with Air Jamaica through connections out of critical gateways, including the New York hubs. Also discussed recently was a link with Air Mexico. In fact, only today I had some concluding discussions with the ambassador concerning this, enabling passengers from Asia to fly via Mexico City or New York into Jamaica. And we are already seeing results with Air Jamaica's afternoon flights off New York to Montego Bay now booking passengers originating from Asian gateways. Additionally, negotiations were completed just last month with U.S. carriers for the period May through December this year, securing over 1.3 million scheduled airline seats from the U.S. gateways, a number very close to that of last year. So although we are slightly behind, we are well ahead in relation to the rest of the region, and indeed in terms of what's really available based on the cutbacks. Of these, approximately 2/3 are on flights into Sangster's International Airport in Montego Bay, and the remainder into the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston. Charter services from St. Louis and Dallas to Jamaica will add a further 12,000 seats. Looking ahead to the higher winter season, we have secured a guarantee of an additional 2,000 seats, or 17 rotations, as is called in the business, for a 12-month period beginning in November this year. And there will be 5 additional rotations out of Canada. Out of Europe, we have successfully firmed up those flights that are already scheduled for Jamaica, and in addition, have an agreement to add another 5 rotations out of Italy and a new one out of Russia. We'll talk a little bit about Russia later on. This will be very important to us in opening up the lucrative Russian market. We also have an additional 3 rotations out of Spain and 1 out of Germany. Of course, timing is everything. Our discussion with the Japan Air Transport Association about a quota for outbound traffic to Jamaica were scheduled just as the JATA board was setting up its distribution of Japanese outbound traffic for the next 3 years. As a result, JATA has set a preliminary target of 50,000 travelers to Jamaica between now and 2010. And I give you how timing really works. When I went to that meeting with JATA, they put on the board the destinations that Japanese tourists would be going between now and 2010. and there was not even a mention of the Caribbean. But by being there, we were able to convince them to write in a projection for Jamaica and to help us to work towards meeting that. Because Japanese market for us had really taken a dive. We were down some 27% when I went there to try and see if we could get it back on track. And so to look at the possibility of 50,000 Japanese travelers coming here over the next 3 years is very significant and important indeed. The Japanese market is of high value, bringing in visitors who stay longer than most tourists, spend lavishly, and travel around the island to experience our region. The visit to Dubai was equally important as it opened the door to discussion with potential investors. In light of the current challenges, therefore, let us take a look now at the most recent tourist arrival figures to see how the year has been affected to date. In Jamaica, we've been extremely fortunate to see growth every month from January straight through to July. And January up to May, I think up to June, we have figures that are fine-tuned, as we would call it. And then we have preliminary figures for July that I told you about a while ago. So total arrivals in January were 142,861, up 10% over 07. Arrival from the US was 83,813, up 6%. Tells you that the US market had then rebounded, and we're now getting positives. The total in February, in fact, was a record-breaking year for a month. February, we had 156,831, up 18%. And from the US, we had 96,732, up by 17%. In March, our total arrivals was 184,267, up 12%. Visitors from the US was 120,000, up some 10.7%.